Hey, there we go.
Mhm.
It says we are live. Hello, gentle people. So, I am Eliza Barr, who this is my channel, so I would hope you would know who I am, but if you don't, that's okay. Hello. I'm a guy with a crazy fractal avatar, as you can see, and I'm joined today by people from the Mythoverse. And I'll let you two introduce yourselves.
Do I go first or do you go, Matt?
Just start talking.
I'm Matt Train, writer creator of Mythics,
I'm Brett.
and
Sorry, go.
just go on.
And I'm Brett McGowan, writer creator of Changeland Urban Fairy Tale. And we are, and we're both co-founders of the Mythoverse.
And woefully unprepared, like usual.
You can't be woefully unprepared because the thing that's topic number one today is the thing that you're the expert in. So you are by definition prepared to talk about the Mythoverse. So tell me all about the Mythoverse. Pretend I don't know anything because honestly, it's been a while since I read these books and I kind of forgot a lot of stuff.
So so it was kind of a happy accident, which is the short version. What started out was that Matt and and our other founder under Dan Sakharov. We were in a Slack group with each other, exchanging ideas, and we both were all doing an urban fantasy title, and we found out that, well, we thought that the three could kind of fit pretty well together. We decided to fold them all into a shared universe and see what would happen.
All right. So what are the individual titles that make this up? Do you have
Hmm.
like a very convenient thing you can scroll by and show people?
Alphabetical.
Oh, look at that.
So yeah, first one. So yeah, start out with Adobe Kroger Dane Commander, which is essentially about a woman named Adobe Kroger who is basically a modern day paladin, and this is not like in the D&D sense of the word. This is more in the Knights of Charlemagne sense of the word. So
Cool.
it's so yeah. Also, she comes with a ton of emotional baggage, but you'll figure that out in the book. Uh,
This is
next
the
up,
year 2024. We all have emotional baggage.
yeah. Next up is Mind Changeling Urban Fairy Tale, which is the young adult title. Well, a girl named Maeve McKenzie finds out she's a changeling, and this just kind of makes life even more complicated for her since she's been kind of a misfit her whole life. So yeah. Next up is Mythics. I'll let Matt talk about that one.
It's basically about a woman named Elthea Fletcher who goes on cases investigating the supernatural.
And the last one that kind of came that was the last one that sort of became the pillar title, like for lack of a better term. This was kind of created after the fact. Was Triple Crown, which is about an F1 racer named Skip Sparks who's trying to win the Triple Crown title in the sport, and it's the outlier in that it doesn't have any supernatural elements at all. It's a straightforward racing manga.
Now, I did see in the text there talking about Triple Crown that it is described as, quote, a simple racing manga, which that seems a little dismissive of your own product there.
Simple in the simple in that it's exactly what I okay. I see what you mean by that. It's simple in that it's what you see is what you get.
I think in your description you said it was straightforward, which I like
Yeah.
that term better than the word simple for that
Yeah.
usage because simple's kind of dismissive, like, oh, it's just a simple story.
Yeah.
But having perused a little bit of Triple Crown, like it is anything but simple.
Yeah.
Now I noticed when you were scrolling by, like there was some other stuff that popped up there. Like what was Kate Dracula like? I saw
Oh,
a cover with that on the name.
that was kind of a side. That was kind of a one shot that I did with Dylan Fagan. That's based off a character who's going to be appearing in issue 3, and she's she's based off she's based off a streamer I'm friendly with named Vamps.
Oh no, I've seen other
And
comic books featuring streamers.
yeah, and just kind of like the character had been in my head for so long, I kind of wanted to do something with her. So I kind of just made the one shot as sort of an origin, like you don't need to read it to understand who she is when she comes into Changeling, but it'll help.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but, so yeah.
What is this grimoire thing? Here?
Okay, so yeah, this was kind of the marketing strategy we took with our 5th anniversary. We wanted to do we wanted to give them a name that would pop, something that kind of really sold on the fantasy side of everything. Like just calling it a simple omnibus or collection or whatever, we thought it was too plain for the Mythoverse. So we went to calling our collections grimoires, sort of just as a marketing strategy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes
Yeah.
all these options in the sidebar make a
Yep.
whole lot more sense. So
Yeah.
what are the different options here? Like what can people do?
Well, you've got the option of 2 grimoires. You have Grimoire Quintus, which collects all the main titles, that's Adobe Kroger, that's Changeling, that's Mythics, that's Triple Crown. And then you have Grimoire Patronus, which has all the stuff that was mainly exclusive to our Patreon, like Mytho Chibis, some one-shots, some bonus comics. And we have tiers that are catered to one or both of those. So, like as an example, you can get Grimoire Patronus one for a print copy for $30, or Grimoire Quintus print for $50. Or if that's too expensive for you, we have them in PDFs as well.
Hey, I got to say for me, it's not so much that things are expensive, it's that I've completely run out of space. Like I don't know how other people live their lives, but like my home office here is covered in comic books. That's one of
God
the reasons I
damn.
haven't backed very many campaigns in a while is I got nowhere to put them. Like if I were to turn my webcam on, in fact, let's do that. Like just piled up on my desk is a pile of comic books. Like I have nowhere else to put this stuff. It's crazy. Like what am I supposed to do? Like my closet with short boxes is full. I got some stuff down in my basement, but I got to do something about all this clutter. So I think giving people the PDF option is pretty cool because that means that it doesn't take up space. It's a lower priced entry point so they can get in and try stuff out ahead of time and see if they like it. And you know what? If they like it, they might just buy some more of it.
Yeah. Not only that, PDFs also gives out an option to people who live in countries that we're not shipping to. So because we wanted to try and keep the logistics of the whole thing as streamlined as possible. So we're only shipping in the US right now, though we plan on expanding at some point. But
Man, don't. International shipping is so expensive.
well,
You will lose your shirt unless you go into it knowing what you're doing.
yeah, well, I kind of saw Tim. I saw Tim Lim sort of Hemlin sort of tweet about this a while back, and he said like we kind of added other territories gradually as we went.
Yep. That if you're gonna do it, that's the way you got to do it. I'm just saying, man. I hate to name drop Brian Ball, but like I've seen him with like Australian patrons, and if he ships something to them, it's like $50 to get like a small box over there. It's like what the
Oh, I know. Like as an experiment, I had, I had a, I took a few spare copies of Changeling issue 2 I had laying around, and I shipped them to 4 friends internationally. One in Canada, one in Mexico, one in Poland, and one in New Zealand, and one in the Philippines. Okay, so actually it was 5. Of the running the gamut, New Zealand was the most expensive.
over the Philippines?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and that was just a floppy. Yeah,
Wow.
I spent more shipping to New Zealand than I did to the Philippines, and I think Poland was somewhere in the middle, and Canada and Mexico were cheaper, but they're on the border.
Hmm. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that international shipping is tricky. Uh, cool. Now, when
Yeah,
you guys were describing all this stuff originally, and I'm going to
yeah,
just share something on my screen. It has nothing to do with the topic. I
yeah.
just have to put this up here. That way you'll feel guilty. Um,
Mhm.
so when you all were describing all of this stuff at the beginning, you use words like urban fantasy to describe the
Yes,
universe. And that's
yes.
kind of a loaded topic, like a loaded genre, because I don't know. I flipped through like an Anita Blake book one time, and it was just like reading smut. Like that's like
Yeah,
the like linchpin of urban fantasy. And if you go watch some of this stuff on TV, like it either turns into soap operas really quick, or is just pornographic if it's on HBO.
Like True Blood.
Yeah, like True Blood, or for like the soap opera stuff. Like if you watch, what was that show about a succubus? It was on like Sci-Fi Channel 10 years ago, like Lost Girl or
uh,
something.
Yeah,
I think
and
that
then you
was
get
it.
and then you get ones that go on for way longer than they should have,
Like
like
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yep. So
I,
I mention this
I,
because your product line does not really seem like it's the sort of thing that would lean into that kind of what is a good word here? Prurient material. Except for Meg
I
Smith.
think.
She can lean into that anytime.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, I have to say that Mythics. I'm taking more inspiration from Jim Butcher than any other urban fantasy writer.
And you even said she was like inspired by Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a Jim Butcher TV series back in the day, but that was kind of like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You know who was an executive producer on that?
What?
Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Yeah, he he wanted to see a Dresden Files. So, and
Okay.
this is during his he'll pay for anything period.
That's interesting. I had totally forgotten about that show until you all brought it up. So that's how little impact that had on me.
And like it got like what, 1 season, I think.
Yeah, the guy playing Dresden didn't really sell the character.
And the only thing notable and the only thing notable about it to me was that it had Claudia Black in one episode.
Well, since you did mention Jim Butcher, I'm just going to casually drop like Jim Butcher facts or just one Jim Butcher fact.
Yeah.
Jim Butcher used to play City of Heroes at the same time I was playing City of Heroes. That makes me like almost famous, right?
Yeah, yeah. Those are the rules.
Actually, I was playing City of Heroes in the same server, in the same zone as Mercedes Lackey one day. That was kind of fun.
Hmm.
I know that name.
She's written a million fantasy novels. I tried to read one time about 15 years ago. Oh Lord, no, longer than that, like 20 years ago. I couldn't
Wait,
take it.
wait, I think I know. I think I know. I think I know where I remember hearing her name once. I think it was from. I think I heard her getting name dropped by Harlan Ellison once.
I could believe it.
And it's Harlan Ellison, so you can imagine that if he was speaking highly of her or not.
It's either highly or he wants to kill himself after reading one of her books. There is no in between of him. There was no in between of him.
It's either good or shit.
I think the only author I've heard him go after consistently is Judith Krantz.
Somehow I get the feeling with him it was personal.
I think it's more along the lines of he writes terrible and somehow became a best-selling author.
The guy
And
would ship a copy of his book to a professor who said he would never amount to anything.
That's the kind of being a jerk I can respect right there.
well,
I'm just saying, man, Harlan Ellison was talented as fuck, but he was petty too.
oh yeah, he is. He was. I mean, he did send that Gopher to a publisher because he had a dispute with them.
Probably I think one of my favorite outbursts from him is like when they were working on the first Star Trek movie and the studio's pitching their idea. They look at and he just looks at Gene Roddenberry in complete disbelief, and he's just like, and he looks at them. I'm the writer. I don't know who the fuck you are.
Well, speaking of Gene Roddenberry, you want to know how long of an essay Ellison wrote about how much he did not like Gene Roddenberry?
Oh,
How long? I'm not even going to guess.
75 pages.
Wow.
That's
That's no longer an essay at that point.
That's like a novella.
Well, it's basically him taking every lie that Gene Roddenberry said about Stay on the Edge of Forever, and then just stretching out his side of the story.
But yeah, I mean, like
Wow.
to get back on track. So yeah, I mean, like the kind of I don't like to say the kind of urban fantasy we're trying to do is like we're definitely not aiming for the Joss Whedon or the Supernatural or the True Blood or Anita Blake sort of type of storytelling. I mean, I say Supernatural, but they had those first 5 seasons were good. It's just everything after that, just like
We just don't want to go on longer than need be.
yeah. I mean,
Gotcha.
yeah, like it's kind of not. Yeah, I mean, I think like something that might be kind of a byproduct of Joss Whedon with Buffy is that they sort of leaned into sort of the kitsch and the ancient being self-aware of it. I would say it's kind of more in line with like at least in the case, it's more in line with stuff like Hellblazer or Hellboy. Well, it's stuff that's actually taking itself seriously. Or at least in the case of Changeling, like there's probably 1,000 manga I could point to that it's like.
Yeah, but those manga don't have Maeve's mom in them. So you
Ish.
definitely got one up on them.
Are you sure about that?
Don't kill. Hint. Don't kill her off.
Look. She dies. You just watch those sales numbers, man. Cliff. Boom. Calling it. right there.
If like I'll kill off Sasha when I'm ready to jump the shark.
Oh man. You know, I actually have watched that episode of Happy Days. It was on Nick at Night one time.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as we don't do the shark repellent.
No, I mean, like, well, the idea is that it's like jumping the shark is when you do them, is when a show that has so thoroughly run its course, or has become so tired, does something so out of left field, that it gets attention, but it's absolutely completely desperate.
Yep, it's when you know that the show is actually over, even if it keeps running. And man, here we're gonna divert to jumping the shark moments here. All right, so you might remember this little show. It came on TV. It's called
Mhm.
Agents of Shield. You remember that little show?
I remember it
Yeah.
existing, never actually watched.
Oh, that's a shame. The first couple seasons are absolutely fantastic. Those seasons of television are as good as the good stuff in the movies from
Mhm.
around the same time period.
Mm-hmm.
So, first two seasons, rock solid. Sometime around the point where Ghost Rider shows up and Quake, of all people, is like turning him into a jobber, I'm just like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever witnessed. This is Ghost Rider. You can't actually hurt him. How is somebody whose power is like, I make things vibrate, hurting the literal spirit of vengeance? It doesn't make any sense. That was the moment I knew that I didn't really care about that show anymore.
Hmm.
Yep.
One could say that was the same thing with the MCU.
Nah, the thing with MCU was kind of more of a. It's more like The Simpsons, where where the rots sort of gradually set in.
Oh, I was referring to the MCU caring about Agents of Shield.
Uh, Also that.
Well, they stopped caring about Agents of Shield before Agents of Shield started. It was just like they had their little tie-in in the first season, and then it was just like, oh well, and that was it. Which is crazy. Although I guess it makes some sense because they did kind of kill like 100 named Shield and Hydra characters off in the first season. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how could you really do any comic storylines when you've literally killed everybody that would have been involved in them? I don't know. Don't make sense to me.
Good question.
I think
Okay.
the jumping the shark moment for them was doing more movies after Endgame.
Yeah, I agree. Like they wrapped up all their storylines in a very nice, neat package with oh shoot, was it Infinity War? Was that the first one or the second one of the ending? I don't remember now.
It was Infinity War and then Endgame, but yeah, it's
Endgame.
like
Yeah.
Endgame. It's like after that, it's like, where do you go from? You just killed Thanos. Where do you go from there?
The name was too accurate.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not
like
wrong.
that's that's my problem with like Supernatural post season 5. Like season 5 ends with Sam and Dean sealing the devil back in hell. It's like, where are they supposed to go from there?
That is a darn good point. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but yeah, you're right. Like, how do you power scale beyond that in a way that
Exa-
makes sense? You can't.
exactly. Exactly.
Which is, I guess, why Marvel did that flirtation with all the multiverse stuff, because, what's bigger than a universal threat? Well, a multiversal threat, except none of that material worked.
And this is post Rick and Morty, when people are kind of getting sick of that.
The only good part of that was Bruce Campbell in it.
Oh, you know what? I will go ahead and say I did like the last Spider-Man movie. Out of
I don't
everything
think
that Marvel's done since Endgame, that's the only thing I've actually liked.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything negative about it.
Hmm.
It was just a love letter to everybody who watched all the other Spider-Man movies. Like, it actually made me like the Andrew Garfield movies a lot more than I did.
Hmm.
Because he got to finish his story arc. Like, oh, this all it ties it all together. and it's not being directed by whoever made those movies because that person should have been shot out of a cannon into deep space. Dude, okay. The was it the second one that ended with like the rhino in the stupid
Yeah.
robo suit? Like that is the
Yeah.
most trashy bull crap I've ever seen in a freaking Marvel movie. And I watched half of Elektra. All right. So that like when you top that, you've done something.
Not only that, they they completely wasted Paul Giamatti in that role.
Yes. It's crazy. I do want to get back to urban fantasy though.
Yep.
All right.
Of
I'm
course.
going to name off a couple of different things here. I just want to see how you guys feel about them, or if you've even like watched this stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So way back in the 90s, all right, before you all were probably even born, because I imagine you two are like babies. I know you're not, but in my mind you are, because I'm an old guy with a gray beard. So everybody's a kid to me. There was this show
I've been
about
calling everyone younger than me kid since I hit 30.
there was a show about a vampire that was a detective. All right, Forever Night.
Forever
Did
Night.
you guys watch that?
Doesn't
I
ring a
haven't
bell.
watched it,
Then
but I've seen the commercials.
I've
Okay.
seen someone mention it on Twitter.
You've seen the commercials. That means you've actually absorbed the essence of the show. Like the commercials were better than the show usually was. So you've already nailed it. You got the important stuff.
I felt like that was the whole series was the commercials.
Oh, I can top that. Either of you heard of Kindred the Embraced?
Yes, I have not watched it though, but I know what you're talking about. That was like the mid 90s, right?
Yeah, that was a show that was based off the White Wolf RPG Vampire the Masquerade. Had a bunch of known character actors in television at the time. I mean, it like only lasted 8 episodes because one of the principal actors died in a motorcycle accident.
Oh wow, I just pulled this up on Wikipedia. You're right, you nailed it. 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I probably watched this because I used to watch everything that was on Fox at this time period. I probably watched this garbage and I've completely forgotten it.
There are people who still kind of remember it fondly.
Huh. Okay. Cool. I'm glad you threw that at me. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't exactly remember it, but this sounds vaguely familiar to me, like reading the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
So kind of going in that vein, like when I look at mythics, like I get kind of and you can kind of correct me here, but like I get kind of like X-Files isn't the right Chris Carter show. I'm thinking more like a Millennium. Like it's got more of that kind of like little bit of a darker undertone to it kind of thing. Like, did you watch Millennium like as you were growing up? Like, is that an influence here?
I've seen some episodes, but they're a bit fuzzy. I've been trying to locate episodes so I could actually get a chance to see the series.
I've always kind of seen Mythics having more in common with Hellblazer than anything.
Yeah. It had that little bit of edge to it. You're right. Millennium's got like for the most part, has a very dark tone to it as well, because the main character in that show, he can like to call him like Mulder of the fantasy world is not really correct. Like that's not really what he was. He can like see demons and stuff as he's going through things. So it's like one episode where there's all these like the show could also be funny because it's Chris Carter's show. And so there's like one episode where a bunch of demons are having coffee in a donut shop and they all end up talking about him and how he recognized, what they were as they were going through their life, making other people's lives miserable and stuff like that. It was a great show. I really wish the third season didn't exist because the second season ended with the literal end of the world. And how do you come back from that?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
since it's also set in the world of the X-Files, there's some issues with that.
Yeah.
It was set in the same universe as the X-Files. They actually had a crossover episode, which is pretty cool.
Remember that?
Kind of reminds me of the of the series finale with Angel, where it was the literal apocalypse about to gear up, and they just kind of go out like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Hey, if you're gonna go out with a little style.
Yeah. And then it gets continued in a comic series where everything's everything's like literally hell on earth.
You know, somewhere in one of my short boxes, I actually have like some Angel comics. I've never read them. I got them out of like the 50-cent bin for like 10 cents each. I should get rid of those. I'm never going to read them. I don't even like the Buffy. Like, I like the movie for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't like any of the media that followed the movie.
I kind of liked Angel. I saw reruns of that when I was in high school, and like it at least sort of was it at least took a more mature look at that same universe, versus instead of being about like teen angst and shit.
Okay, I gotta admit, I never watched the Angel TV show. I watched some episodes of Buffy because my sister-in-law was into that.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with Angel is that it's like Angel leaves Sunnydale to go to Los Angeles, wants to set up a detective agency, and it's just him just trying to find redemption for everything he's done.
Huh. That actually does sound kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How many seasons were there? Do you know?
5. I get about 5 seasons.
That's a bigger commitment than I want to make to a show right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I got about 5 seasons. It actually did pretty good. Good. And from what I remember like it had like you actually got to see like Cordelia was a main character on that show, and you actually kind of saw her grow up from the person you knew her on Buffy as. XLG81 says, I haven't watched Mad Men forever. 7 seasons is always too much a commitment.
Hey, XLG. You know, I have not watched Mad Men at all. Like, people tell me that's some of the best television, but I ain't seen none of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, Ninja Weasel, Angel was pretty okay. Yeah. Yes, for me, like peak urban fantasy TV was first 5 seasons of Supernatural.
You know, I think Ninja Weasel has been trying to get me to watch Supernatural for 20 years. So maybe I should do that one of these days.
Yeah, don't go any further than season 5. That's all I'll say.
I have this terrible thing where once I start watching something, I have to consume every bit of media about it. Like years ago. All right. You might remember this movie called RoboCop. You remember that movie?
Yes.
Yep, Peter Weller. So when they did the remake in, what was that, 2014 or so? I'm
Sounds
like, you know
about
what?
right.
Before I go watch this, I'm going to go watch RoboCop, RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3, RoboCop the cartoon, RoboCop the series, RoboCop the miniseries that nobody remembers that was made by Canadians. All right? It was called Prime Directives.
Oh, Jesus.
All right? And it was sort of a sequel to the TV show, which I forgot the TV show. Here, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up since I got it pulled up here on Wikipedia because I had to look the name up to make sure I had it correct. So I had to crash all this stuff. So this miniseries consists of like 4 2-hour shows, and it was not good. And I want to make sure when I say it's not good, people don't think I'm like dissing on the actor who inherited the role of Murphy. Like, he did an all right job with what he had to work with, but they didn't give him anything to work with. Like, it was just a mess. And it was like a video game too. You know how like in a video game you have a health bar?
Yeah.
RoboCop in the show had a health bar. He had his energy meter. He was like completely invulnerable, but as he was going through, his energy would get depleted. And so at a certain point, he would just be like effectively like crippled and laying on the ground until he somehow found a car battery or something that he could hook himself into to heal up. I'm not kidding, man.
What did
Freaking
this?
Canadians.
Please tell me this aired on Sci-Fi.
I don't actually know what channel, but I bet Sci-Fi had. That's probably what I taped it off of. Because I didn't
I think the series.
stream this.
I'm pretty sure the series was not on. I did not premiere on Sci-Fi. It was on one of the major networks.
Perfect. Of course it did.
There we go.
Because I think it was aired during a time where Sci-Fi Channel was just re-showing old stuff rather than producing the new shows.
Well, I didn't watch it on its first run. I watched it around the time that the remake movie came out. So like 2014 or 2015, whenever that was. This got rebroadcast, and I'm pretty sure it was on Sci-Fi Channel because I taped it with my DVR. I didn't like find a streaming
Oh.
service for this.
So I decided to look it up. Apparently, they didn't have the full rights for a TV show. They had to alter names to from their movie counterparts.
Of course.
You know, I believe it. I believe it. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So yeah, you gotta be careful when you're suggesting like media to me because I will end up consuming every bit of whatever that franchise has, and I will usually hate myself by the end of it because 90% of everything is crap. That's why I'm out of the MCU. Like I can't make myself do it anymore. Like what broke me was actually kind of like kind of the MCU version of like an urban fantasy story, young adult thing, because it was Runaways. I tried watching the first episode of that Runaways series they did. When was that? Like 2016?
Jesus Christ, that had nothing to do with the comics. I hated.
I made it like 15 minutes in, and I just turned it off. And that was the moment that I realized I was not going to consume all Marvel media anymore. It was over. The honeymoon ended.
Yeah. Christ. This.
All right, let me pull this back to the topic du jour, which is your book. This is a great time for one of you to suddenly decide you're going to share your screen and talk about how cool the Mythoverse is.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the designated shield time. No pressure.
Yeah. So yeah. Like
the add button. There we go.
So yeah, here's a couple. So yeah, there's a couple images that, couple graphics that Rubbish Raccoon threw together that just show what you get with each grimoire. You get all these comics in Quintus, all these in Patronus, and Red Bull.
Zoom in on that and make the picture a little bigger so people can actually see it?
Maybe.
If you do like control mouse wheel up, will that zoom in?
Now I was gonna see if I could just open. I was gonna try and see if I could open up the.
Good call.
But yeah, no, I'll just zoom in.
It didn't help. I think that's the same size it was before. Thank you, Kickstarter. Let's give them a round of applause. Anyway, there's books in there, so I guess we'll squint at the picture. What's in there?
Yeah, like I said, it's we got Mythochibis and plus a bunch of one shots and some bonus comics. There's a whole list below that can better go into detail than I can off the top of my head.
Here we go. I got the picture open, so I'm going to read the stuff I see in the picture. So I see we got Mythochibis, and it looks like there's 2 of those.
Yep, 2 volumes of it.
I remember the first one, the one with the white cover. I remember that cover. I got that somewhere. And then I see, oh gosh, what is that to the bottom right of that? 2 somethings?
2 Christmases.
2 Christmases. What's that about?
Okay, so it's a not so merry Christmas story written by Dylan and illustrated by Forrester that delves into Maeve's struggle as an outsider growing up and the fate of the child she replaced.
Oh, okay. That's kind of dark. Like that's real dark.
Dylan joked about that this is all he's ever done with us.
Yeah, maybe we should give him some happy material to work with.
Yeah.
What
Next
is
one.
this not like others thing?
That's another short Changeling comic by Dylan, and it's where Sasha learns that something might be wrong with Maeve.
Hey, I got to ask you a question because in the picture, this comic book, like the little title that you're given, the format of that, it looks like it's in landscape and not portrait. Like, is the
That's
comic actually formatted that way, or is that just
no,
like to get the title
it's
off?
not. It's not.
Okay,
It's not. That's just a bit that Rubbish clipped out for the graphic.
that's fine. I thought I would ask because
Yeah,
for
it's
some reason I've gotten into a weird format comic kick here lately, and I don't know why. I just like see something that's formatted in landscape, or I got one comic somewhere around here that the staples are actually on the top of the page, and so you flip it up instead of across. I got a book like that somewhere around here. I'll never find it because I got too many books in here, but like that kind of stuff is like really interesting me. So what is the book that's underneath that with the lady in red pants?
that's just a pinup of Kate that Forrester did. That's going to be included.
Ah, okay. And then there's like two Triple Crown stories down there.
Yeah, those are two bonus comics that were included in I think issues 1 and 2 or 3. So one of them is Skip going over. One of them is Skip going over all the nuts and bolts of her dad's car, and the other one is sort of Dan made as a tribute to who's to forgot her name. I gotta go down. Here he is, Sabine Schmetz.
Okay.
Who was a legendary German race car driver.
Cool. Sounds like a passion project right there.
Yeah.
What is my best worst Halloween?
That's a short or comic that Rubbish did, where Maeve has to take her cousin out trick or treating, and then she gets roped into hijinks with her changeling friends.
That just sounds kind of fun.
Yep.
What is this Maria thing that's right next to it?
That's another short comic by Dylan. That's about Althea and her discovering her supernatural abilities.
To a
Okay.
degree.
Well, we've already talked about Kate Dracula a little bit. So what about Dropping Out down here?
That was a short that was written by Dan and illustrated by Dylan, and it is about the worst night of Adobe's life.
I think I have that somewhere
You probably do.
because that cover looks real familiar. I know I've seen it before. It's probably in my stack of indie books that I'm supposed to have read 3 years ago and I haven't. Like I said in an unboxing video I did earlier, I've got like 1,000 books I need to read. The pile of shame has grown to where it's a small mountain of shame now. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Final one, Irene Redux. That was another collaboration between Dylan and Forrester. That was a remake of a comic they did together years ago because Dylan wanted to do the art again, but better. And it's about a bounty hunter named Irene Eris. She takes on a job that takes her into the swamps of Virginia, and it's more than she bargained for. Let's just say that.
That's a clear mistake. I've played Fallout 3 Point Lookout. Okay. I've been to the swamps of Virginia. All right. I know what dangers lurk there. Like you go in there and then like some guy, like you get high and he cuts out a piece of your brain to put in a jar for his collection. Like it gets real weird real fast in Virginia. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the stuff that's in the Patronus book. And then the Grimoire Quintus is just like the main titles, right?
Yep. And
Okay.
for anyone who wants to know, Mytho Chibis, that's basically our gag manga. It takes the same characters, but it reimagines them in sillier situations.
and it's about as close as we will ever get to doing alternate universes.
Pretty much.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with gag comics. Like that's got a time-honored tradition, even with very serious books.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on. XLG is baiting you right there. He does this to
Yes,
me,
I
which means
see
he
it.
does that to everybody
Yes, I
else.
s-
I'm going to put that up on
yes, I
screen.
see. Yes, I see it. I see it.
Mm-hmm. So how does that make you feel, Brett? With a last name like yours, you must have some opinions. I don't know what this actually means. I'm just trying to get on your nerves. He does that kind of crap to me all the time. It's one of the reasons I love him. He's a little bomb thrower, and I can appreciate that. Cool. So, oh no,
It
that
looks
killed
like Brett
Brett.
got. Yeah,
Killed
yeah.
Brett. Oh no, XLG, what did you do to him? Device is not connected. No, no, he's
Whoop.
gone. XLG, this is your fault. Oh,
We're doing so well too.
we couldn't have timed that better. That's perfect. He must have lost his internet all the way because he just poofed completely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
that's okay because I think the next topic I was going to bring up, I wanted to kind of aim more in your direction because a lot of the
Well,
previous stuff, the urban fantasy, like I was specifically like poking around at like Changeling with those topics mostly. And so I kind of wanted to poke around at Mythics because it did have a much more serious side to it than Changeling, for example. Although maybe not quite as grimly, violently serious as Adobe Kroger. Holy crap! But you know, it's much more. Um, what's a good word? Much more somber subject matter than Changeling. I mean, you don't have characters making really silly faces, and Maeve's mom is clearly not in Mythics. Because if she was, I'd be talking about
clearly,
how Maeve's mom is in Mythics all the time as
and
well.
I would say I would not kill her off
There we go.
because I know
So
where the money's coming from.
exactly, you got to lean into the thing that the audience wants, and the audience wants Maeve's mom's boobs. That's just a fact. We just want to see the chest in every panel you can cram it in. Uh, just being honest. What can I say?
Yeah, yeah.
But for you, since you know Mythics has like supernatural, maybe not going so far as to say like supernatural horror, but it's definitely like serious supernatural investigation type stuff. Which, depending on what you're doing, you know, watch the X-Files. How much of that stuff just turned into like a horror show by the end of it, right? Like every other episode. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So what
Especially,
I'm going to ask you is, what horror movies do you like?
I'd say I lean more towards the paranormal types. Basically, the anything with where you're dealing with a supernatural force that seems overwhelming, along with the, some exorcism type stories, like the, of course, The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I did really enjoy The Void.
Hold
Yeah, have you
on,
seen it?
Void. Oh, 2016 film, Canadian horror movie?
Yep.
I have not seen that. Sell me on it. Sell me on The Void.
You know the thing?
Yes, I love The Thing. In fact, I got The Thing on my DVR because it just came on. I got The Thing and I got The Thing from Outer Space, you know, the 50s movie. I'm going to watch those two back to back. It's going to be great this weekend.
Imagine those movies, the John Carpenter movie, with except it leans further into Lovecraft, and they're trapped in a hospital surrounded by cultists instead of on a research base surrounded by snow.
Okay. You're kind of selling me on it here. I kind of like the way that sounds. Speaking of Lovecraft, since you mentioned that as like like kind of the thematic feel of the movie there, have you seen the Nicolas Cage Color from Outer Space?
Yep.
Okay, I watched about half of that, and the very beginning of it, I was getting bored out of my mind, and then I had to like go to bed or something, and I never picked it up because the start of it wasn't so great, and it started getting good, and then that's where I had to stop for the night. Like, am I making a terrible mistake here? Should I go back?
I'd say finish it just to say that you finished it, but can't say it's anything special.
Okay,
You
fair
can
enough.
tell that Nick Cage put in a much more restrained performance.
He's supposed to be playing a farmer. He's got to put in a restrained performance.
Yeah, but you know what he's known for.
Oh yeah,
We all know what he's known for.
and it's why we love him, man. Okay, I'm going to ask you, since I'm on a Lovecraft kick with my questions now. How do you feel about In the Mouth of Madness?
I personally love that one.
Same. I've got I think it was the Sound Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray.
I actually love everything in the Apocalypse trilogy.
Oh man, you just like casually drop that, and what people are supposed to like realize that Prince of Darkness and The Thing are part of that? Like, come on, people don't like. Not everybody knows that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, they're not. It's not a trilogy because they're linked by narrative or continuity. They're a trilogy because they're linked by theme.
Yep.
The end of the world.
All right. Well, how do you feel about Prince of Darkness?
I think it's very underrated.
Yeah.
It's slow as hell, is what it is.
Yeah, but that slowness really helps build the mood and atmosphere, and then you get to that one scene with the tape from the future, and it's just eerie.
Fair enough. I don't know. Sometimes horror movies, I'll like stuff about them, and I like stuff about that one in particular. But as a movie goes, like the pacing will kill me. Like, I really like parts of Rosemary's Baby, but my God, I don't want to ever sit through that movie again in my life.
I mean,
I watched it one time all the way through, and I never want to do it again. That was. I'd rather get a root canal.
I mean, I saw Grave of the Fireflies once, but that's for a different reason.
Look, we don't talk about that. If we start talking about that, then we're going to end up talking about like Requiem for a Dream, and we're not going there.
Yeah. Actually, if it's pretty much any horror movie that John Carpenter made, I would say is worth watching, even if it's like not as good as say Halloween or The Thing.
I pulled up his list of films here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Dark Star. I haven't thought about that movie in a long time.
Vampires is one I've been meaning to get around to just because it has James Woods in it.
You know, funny thing is that if Dark Star was never made, Dan O'Bannon would have never met H.R. Giger, and we wouldn't have Alien.
You are correct. I like that you threw that in there, but you are 100% correct. Hey, since we're on a John Carpenter kick now, did you guys watch he did that anthology series back in the mid 2000s, Masters of Horror? Did you watch any of those episodes?
I think rings a bell.
He did one that he directed. Like the other ones, I think he was just like a producer for, but he directed one of them. It was called Cigarette Burns, and it's the best of the lot by far. It's about a guy who's dinging me on freaking Discord. Okay. Oh, that's somebody I should actually talk to in a minute. Okay. So it's about this dude who is a rare films dealer, actually Norman Reedus, and he gets hired by this other guy to go find a movie that's lost. And the movie is basically like an angel getting tortured to death. It's amazing. Like everything in that film. not the film in the movie. Like I don't think we actually see very much of it, but like the lead up, the guy's hunt, the increasing desperation of everybody involved, and how it feeds into Norman Reedus's character's uh, his problems in his own life and stuff, and it builds up to this great climactic scene at the end, and it's fantastic. And if you haven't seen Cigarette Burns, you should go track it down. I don't know if that stuff is on DVD. It's got to be on DVD. You should find it. You know, watch that episode. The rest of the series was okay. I watched like the whole thing, but that was fantastic. There we go. I said it. I put that out there.
And you caused Brett to leave again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta put over here. I'm sorry for killing your internet, Brett. Frowny face. Rough. That's rough. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well,
you know what? It's just you and me now. So I'm going to ask you another John Carpenter related question, although it's more meta Carpenter than directly like a John Carpenter thing.
of
Which
course.
Halloween movie is your favorite?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think my mic is the problem.
Now, we were getting too intense for you, Brett. That's all it was. Your computer was like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, sure.
Eliza Barr has gone off the deep end talking about a 40-minute TV show episode. It's over. I'm out of here.
I think John Carpenter had a show on Peacock a few years back. I didn't watch it though because I don't have Peacock.
The hell are all these streaming services? Why do they exist?
I don't know.
Well, he does do comics now.
Yes, I've seen I think it was Masters of Science Fiction. I saw like one stray copy of that on my store shelf.
Something something I started last year was watching Tales from the Crypt. Someone, I will not name names, uploaded all the episodes onto YouTube. So if you need something to watch for Halloween, there's that. And of course, the first one I watch is the Joe Pesci one.
Good choice. Actually, I have watched a couple episodes of that show on YouTube. Like I don't remember what channel. It's been years. Probably a lot of years now. But I remember stumbling on that stuff. You remember when you could just like randomly find stuff on YouTube to watch and it would be like, oh, weird. Why is this movie here? And nobody cared.
Yeah, those are the good old days. Another thing that's a bit of a tradition for me is I always watch Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons around Halloween.
I have not watched a Simpsons episode since 2005. So I don't even know if like the Treehouse of Horror this year is going to be any good or last year was or whatever. It's just I'm out of that game, man. Like I don't see how that show can still be running. What jokes are left to tell?
I mean, God, I mean, like I even heard a clip from a recent episode in Julie Kavner. I'm just saying, like, they need to let that woman go, not because she's doing a bad performance, but it's more like, oh God, please let this woman rest.
Well, you know,
Like
30
it
years that's a pretty good career if you can get it. Well,
Yeah.
wait, it's like 35 now, right? Because Simpsons
30.
started on what the Tracy Ullman show in like 88 or something.
Could be even longer than that, but yeah, like I always watch Treehouse of Horror. Like there was one, in fact, there was like 1 year back when my brother and I still lived in Michigan, the local Fox station. Somehow there were enough Treehouse of Horror episodes that they aired a rerun every day in October that year, and I just ate them all up.
Wow.
And this is probably a basic bitch take, but the Shining is always going to be the best one for me.
That's a goodie. I remember that one.
Yeah. Dial Z for Zombies, that's also a favorite of mine.
Which was the one that ends like the aliens invade, they take over the planet, and then they get beaten up by people who have like nails and boards, and as they're leaving,
that's the monkey's paw episode.
I like that segment, especially the very ending. Is like, and one day they'll invent a board with a nail in it so large it will destroy them all. That stuck with me for 30 years now.
And how can you forget from the first Treehouse of Horror where they do an adaptation of The Raven?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's narrated by James Earl Jones. Owns Homer as the protagonist and Bart is the Raven.
Yeah. Oh man, I did forget about that, but now that you mention it, yeah, I remember that.
That is so fucking good.
You have unlocked like childhood memory now. If this was like a video game, one of us just leveled up.
Yeah. And man, there was another. Let me think. There was another one. There was it was from a later episode. It was called 4 Beheadings and a Funeral, where it just kind of imagined Bart and Lisa as like Sherlock Holmes and Watson since solving a Jack the Ripper style murder case.
Okay.
There was also, I think there was also that other one from the same episode as The Shining where Homer accidentally invents a time machine and keeps ending up in parallel universes because he keeps fucking things up in prehistoric times.
I remember that segment too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. You know what? I might have to go back and watch some of this stuff because it's been ages and I don't remember most of it distinctly, but I remember watching a lot of the things that you've just mentioned and enjoyed them at the time.
Yeah. They were really funny. I mean, in fact, there was even another one where Bart and Lisa end up in an episode of Itchy and Scratchy, and then they find out cartoon violence isn't as fun if it's happening to you.
Huh. Who could have guessed? Oh man, we got a question from the audience here.
Yeah.
Hold up. Look at this. This is the most critical thing we can be talking about right now, Mr. Matt.
That is something I will be revealing on Thursday.
Oh, look at that. You are denied, XLG. You get no answer tonight.
Well, he'll get one eventually. He'll get one eventually.
Yeah, but I got to word this over him. If I start being nice to him now, he's not going to donate money later. So. He keeps giving me money, and I keep telling him to stop doing it, and he keeps giving it to me anyway. It's like, God damn it, I don't need your money. You're unemployed right now. What are you doing, you madman? Seriously, I worry about this guy.
Oh boy,
man! So, what time Thursday is this going to be? Like on a stream?
I'll probably, since I have to work on Thursday, I'll put up on Twitter.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a major. It's a major announcement, but I'll be sure to leave a link in the comments for anyone who wants to see it after listening to this interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? If I was a good host, I would have went ahead and put this link here and then done like a thing where I like that pin it on YouTube. Like, no. Okay, let me come over here. Can I pin that? There we go. Boom. Kickstarter link pinned an hour into the stream. We're professionals here.
Yay.
Which, yeah, if you guys want to drop like your Twitter links or anything like that, like feel free, man. The chat is yours to abuse.
Sure.
But not too much.
Nice.
It's my job to abuse the chat too much. You get to abuse it immediately.
I will say this. Having another redheaded woman also means that the loss of I have to say that it's a contingency plan, such if Brett ever loses his mind and actually kills Sasa, we got a fallback.
Good. This is what we needed. We needed like a safety mechanism.
I've been foiled.
As long as, this other redhead has got it going on, it's okay.
I mean, yeah, she does. I'd say she does.
Yeah.
Here, I'm putting this back up on screen here. We can't get away from it. It's coming back.
Oh, jeez.
Look, I can't help it. You protect the things you love, right? Or at least you like make memes about them.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
We'll just put that right there, and you can feel, Tom staring at you right there.
Yes.
He's very concerned. He's strung out. He's coming down off the heroin.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's only a week since Siri almost killed him.
Yep. Okay, let's see. We've talked about some horror movies. We've talked about urban fantasy. We've talked about TV shows. We've hit a lot of topics here, guys. We probably shouldn't go too much longer. We've been going for like an hour. I can go longer if you want, but I don't want you guys to feel obligated to hang out with a weirdo like me.
Well, we're all weirdos.
Yeah.
We're working in comics. You gotta be a little bit weird.
Yep.
Oh, man. You know what? There are some real weird people in comics.
Like what? Our Crumb?
I'm just like, I'm not even thinking of like,
$2 stickers.
I just see if I start talking about like some of this stuff, it's just going to get me in trouble. So I'm going to stop and just be like, boy, I see some stuff on Twitter that makes me question people.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I tend to cut my Twitter use.
Same. I am glad I have a job that keeps me occupied for most of the day.
People on the internet have this thing, like, and it's not just Twitter, but it's like somebody's like, hey, I don't like sandwiches. And so like the immediate response is somebody go on, so what you're saying is you hate tacos. It's like, what? No, I just don't like sandwiches. They have crusts. That has nothing to do with tacos.
It's that one guy who said, like, I hate pancakes, you hate waffles. No, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah. That kind of stuff it blows my mind. And nobody wants to stay in their goddamn lane for 5 freaking minutes. And we just killed Brett again. This is too spicy for him.
Yes, it is too spicy for his internet to handle.
Oh, man. Oh, hey, that is a question that is directed to you. Although it's addressed to me, even though it's a you question.
Well, we haven't talked much about migrating to blue sky.
We have a blue sky. We're not really getting much use out of it, though.
Yeah, I made a blue sky account just to follow like a couple of artists that are over there, and that's like it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very skeptical that Blue Sky is going to become a legit competitor to Twitter. Just because every other platform that's tried to has never really gone anywhere.
It's kind of like social media version of Blip.
Blip lasted for a good long while until they got bought out by Disney.
What was Blip? I don't even know what this is.
Blip was it was like YouTube. A lot of people from That Guy with the Glasses used it because they weren't as restrictive with copyright.
Ah, okay. This is one platform that I totally missed out on. I don't know, like I never heard of this. I've been on all sorts of weird ones. I was on vid.me, like, which apparently prior to becoming like a legit streaming site was like a 18+ site, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
So yeah, I had no idea. So
I mean, Crunchyroll
Brad,
started out as a.
how's your
Crunchyroll started out
connection?
as a pirate site.
that's right.
So, what was it you said, Matt?
What Eliza Bar was doing saying something spicy. I just asked, how is your connection?
Uh, like I said, I don't think my internet's the problem. I think it's my mic.
Well, it's funnier when you just you leave as soon as something slightly objectionable happens. Like the timing is suspicious. That's all I'm
By the
saying.
way, by the way, if XLG81 wants, if XLG wants to know where I get my internet from, CenturyLink.
Weren't they just in a lawsuit?
Um, I don't know, but I grabbed them. But my brother and I switched over to them because Xfinity was charging us way too much, and we figured we'd get a comparable service with CenturyLink, and so far we have. We didn't really have a lot. We didn't have a ton of options where we lived.
Hmm.
It was it.
I thought I saw there was a thing where they were in a lawsuit against record labels and they just lost or something. But maybe I'm thinking of a different ISP because I don't see the news story now that I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What? What were we talking about before my mic crapped out again?
Horror movies, I think, just in general.
We were, yeah.
Oh, hey, here you go. You guys can field this one. You know, XLG, you may notice that the thumbnail for this, and I'll go ahead and take all the heat, is a generative AI image because I was dinking around in Bing killing the rainforest, and I really liked the one that it popped out. So I decided I'm putting this up here.
Hmm.
So how do you guys feel about generative AI?
Eh. Uh, I think there's a lot of legitimate. I think there's a lot of legitimate criticisms towards it that it scrapes from other artists. Uh really, what my biggest fear with generative AI is more something like you ever see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called The Running Man?
You bet I've seen The Running Man. I love that film.
Then you remember the part where they completely engineer out of thin air Jesse Ventura's character killing Arnold, all just to
Yep.
drive up the ratings.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. But in their case, they actually had some stunt people get killed, and then they just remapped all the faces, which you don't even need AI to do.
That's what I'm afraid of AI being able to do, is like being able to make stuff, being able to make fake shit that is so convincing you can't even tell the difference.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that it already is. Like I was reading an article in the news about people that are getting scammed by having like local policemen like call them and threaten them, and it's generative AI faking being those policemen.
Yeah, that's what yeah. And like I said, I'm more afraid of that being used by shit like the media and governments just to God knows what with like this has some, and unfortunately it seems like we're not putting that genie back in the bottle.
I think this counts as safe for work, right?
Yeah.
Well,
No, I'm not in your memes channel on your Discord right now. Surely not.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, like I get where when artists
It killed him. No, Brett, come back. Well, how do you feel
okay, so
about generative AI? It's your turn to talk. Let's see if you get disconnected by the AI overlord.
well, in terms of entertainment, I'm not too concerned because we had these same kind of fears before. There was fears about how digital is going to kill physical books. Barnes Noble's still around. Books a Million still around. Brandon
now.
Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson had the #1 funded Kickstarter for, and he was doing physical books. So I think we're at the point where AI might be able to do the same thing, but there's such a backlash behind over it that it'll instantly It'll instantly create a blacklist of creators who use it.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I think like when artists voice their issues with AI, I think it's legitimate for the most part. I do, I do see like I do see like a lot of, we'll just say corporal publishers, like sure is using it just to cut corners and save money.
Oh,
I do
Marvel will
think
absolutely do use it.
like that. Not only that, I
Actually, I
think we're
think the
going to.
MCU's done used
Yeah,
it.
not only that, I think we're going to. I think AI is going to get more use in animation and video game production. Just for like, I don't think they're going to completely replace like as one example. Like, I don't think like they can they're going to completely replace voice actors with AI. But for like NPCs and other assets that don't really matter, they can just offload all that to AI generation. And the problem with AI is because it's just problem with AI is because it can only really work off what's already been made, and that doesn't really have any ability to think outside of the box. It's eventually going to get pretty sterile.
I would argue that a lot of AI generated stuff already is pretty sterile
Yeah,
because a lot of it you can tell is AI generated as soon as you look at it. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what's going on. Like the little thing I use as the thumbnail for this stream,
yeah,
that's slop. Like that's all it is. It looks kind of cool at a distance, but you start dissecting it and you realize, oh, from the way the color gradients work, I've seen this exact same color gradient pattern in a million other AI generated pieces. Like
yeah,
it's real obvious.
yeah, yeah. Now I have fucked around with like AI music just as a goof. I've even watched a couple channels that use AI text to speech videos of Dagothar from Morrowind, but that's for
Yeah,
that's just for screwing around.
that's
That's
what
for
I like
fun.
AI stuff for is as a toy.
Yeah.
Like from that perspective, I don't really have much of a problem with it. Like that this thumbnail, like I don't know if you guys know, like when I stream on YouTube,
Yeah.
like I don't there shouldn't be any ads on the stream for anybody watching this later. I don't do any monetization stuff here because a lot of the content I consume on the stream is like this silly meme that somebody else made. I don't want to make money for your meme. I
Mhm.
just want to show this to people because this is a real feel good moment here. Because look at all
Yeah.
this stuff that you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like I don't. Yeah. But like I said, my main issue with AI is just more like just more like what it can be done in the hands of someone who doesn't really have any ethics.
Yep, and it's a shame that the ship has sailed on having an AI that's not inherently amoral at minimum or just actively evil at worst.
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah.
putting the genie back in the bottle. Like the software exists, it's on the internet, and if we were to destroy every copy we could get our hands on, guess what? Some creepy guy in like South Korea has a copy of it, and he's going to use it to generate abominations that no one wants to see, but are somehow legal in South Korea.
Hmm. All I can say is Butlerian Jihad win.
Yeah, I feel you. Like this is the thing that I'm going to take the floor and talk about how I feel about generative AI for a second. I already said like I like it as a toy, as something that I can fool around with and get silly things out of. I really appreciate it because I can then just laugh at the results. Like I'm not taking any of this seriously. I'm not going to pass this off as my work or anything like that. One of my favorite emotes on my Twitch channel, let me open this up, is it's actually an AI generated thing, and it just makes me laugh every time I see it. Let me how do I share my desktop? Present, share screen, entire screen. Here we go. So I asked it to, I was like trying to make it make hands. And you can see how well it did at making this. I call this the Hand. And so this is one of the emotes on my Twitch channel. So when I pop into somebody's Twitch channel, I don't want to say anything. I'll just drop the Hand as a little wave, and nobody knows that it's made with AI unless you're on this stream or you're one of the people on my Discord server. But this just amuses the hell out of me. The Hand. Look how malformed it is. It's great. It's fantastic. Why is the thumb longer than any of the fingers? Nobody knows. The thumb just goes straight out of the frame. It's great. Now, would I ever would I have ever paid somebody to draw me a hand? No. So this didn't take money from anybody. It's not taking food off anybody's plates. And who knows what the heck this was trained on. This was like some DALL-E model from like 2.5 years ago when all this stuff was brand new. So I like AI for goofy toys, stuff like that just is funny when you look at it. But to make something serious, like right now I saw on Ars Technica an article about them using generative AI in medical records. How well you think that's going to go down?
Oh boy.
Terrible.
Like that is way more serious. You know, taking people's like art jobs, that's a big freaking deal. And I don't agree with that. Like, why are we automating the stuff people like to do? Like, how did we get here where that's the first thing we choose to automate as opposed to automating like manufacturing cars? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the article. Let me pull this up. I don't know if you guys read Ars Technica, but they have an absolutely terrible new layout style, and it makes it makes my stomach churn.
I do not. I've never been an Ars Technica reader.
I like to read it for stuff like this. The comment section's kind of a sewer. Don't go there. Like you will not find people who are more racist than the Ars Technica commentariat.
Yep.
Their hatred for Slavic people would make World War II Germans proud. Yeah, I'm in trouble for that comment. Like you can see right here, hospitals adopt error-prone AI transcription tools despite warnings. Like why? Like is this what's going to happen when AI ends up killing somebody because it generates some text in a note or something, you know, a little doctor's note where the doctor's like, patient presented these symptoms and da 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 da. We're doing this and this and this, and then it adds on like an amputate left foot or something.
What?
AIs hallucinate, you know, this is what they do right now. Maybe one day the hallucinations will go away, but right now they go wild. That's how you end up with the hand instead of a hand.
Okay, so I have read through an encyclopedia, and this is how the Butlerian Jihad starts. Because the AI makes a mistake, and they perform an abortion on a Bene Gesserit. That Bene Gesserit starts a war against all AI.
Yeah, that is the short version of how the Butlerian Jihad got started.
Yes. So we are heading into that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even. I feel like we're. Yeah, I mean, like I want to say, like maybe program with the 3 laws, but I'm not. But Asimov wrote plenty of stories where he showed how the laws could get like either broken or you could find loopholes within them.
Oh my gosh, dude. So that one guy on Twitter, the guy that runs the Sersova magazine, I'm sure you've seen him. I don't know if you guys follow
we
him
know
or
him.
not.
Yep.
We know him. He's cool.
He was getting rid of like his dad or his uncle's like sci-fi books that he didn't want collection. And one of them was an Asimov book. What was it? It was like Robots and Empire or something like that.
Robots and Foundation, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact name. No, it was way before the foundation was set. Like it's way earlier in the story because it's set when the spacers are starting to go extinct because they use robots. Anyway, I tried reading that son of a gun. I got like 5 YouTube videos, maybe more, out of that thing where I'm just like, there is nothing happening in these 90 pages that I have just read.
Yeah,
Like,
Asimov wasn't so much about story as he was about the science.
oh, dang it. I thought I had that book laying around here, but see, it's probably covered up with a comic book, so I'll never find it. But yeah, I slogged my way through that, and it took about half of the book before something interesting started happening. And then that interesting stuff just kind of petered off because we just decided that we were going to have like 8 pages of 2 robots talking to each other about what was going on instead of just having stuff happen. And I'm just like, why am I reading this? It's his fault though. He gave it to me, so I had to read it.
Well, there's a reason why Foundation is considered to be one of those series that you can never adapt faithfully.
You say that, but didn't they do a TV series?
Yes,
There
that's
was,
awful.
Was it? I never watched it.
Basically, they turned it into Star Wars.
That sounds terrible.
Yes.
I'm going to turn my camera on. I got sent this book by Manny Shape, and the first like 3/4 of it were fantastic. I don't know if you guys have ever even heard of this. I hadn't until he was like, "Have you heard of this book?" And he just mailed it to me out of the blue. It's crazy. It's about they're in a sci-fi universe, you know, the near future where they've invented like faster than light travel, and they have implants in their heads that will record what they're feeling, and then that gets broadcast out to people so that people can experience what the characters are going through as part of like their life. It's kind of got the you mentioned the Running Man movie. It's kind of got like a Running Man kind of theme going on. Their world is that kind of dystopia. And the first like 3/4 of this book were super solid and fun. The characters were a hoot. They had great interactions with each other. The world is real interesting too. There's one section about halfway through the book where they go to this military installation where there's a bunch of super soldiers who have nothing to do. So those super soldiers hollowed out an asteroid and filled it up with enough water that fish can breathe in there, but not enough that it makes a person drown. And so they have sharks in there that they go swimming with and stuff like that in 0G. Like there's just a lot of really cool imagery all through this book. And a lot of fun, trashy action. It wasn't actually as trashy as I thought it was going to be. Like the sex scenes were just kind of like fade to black, which surprised me.
More pulpy than trashy.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely, yeah. I thought it was going to be a trashy book. It turns out it was a pulpy book. You nailed the words that I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a fun little book. I don't even know if you can find a copy of this. I'm thinking about like mailing this to somebody that wants to read it. I don't know. If you guys are interested, let me know like on Twitter, like, and I'll send it to one of you and you can read it.
Yeah, I think I can name a more batshit sci-fi than Foundation. Because it was written by L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh no, we're not going to talk about Dianetic here. Stop.
Oh, it's better.
Are we about to go full Xenu? Is that where we're headed?
Yes.
In fact, it even had like an album made for it by Edgar Winter in the 80s. It's called Mission Earth. There's 10 volumes of it. It is complete shit. And somehow it has a space rock opera album by Edgar Winter for it. I think I broke him because Elijah was completely speechless.
He got knocked out.
Somehow I got knocked out. I'm over here talking. I didn't even notice I was gone, man.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was not broken.
So did you catch any of what I said? We lost him again.
So I'm gonna take this as a act of God to end the stream.
Probably should. Yeah, we probably should wrap this up pretty quickly if he gets back in. But yeah, that or if he doesn't get back in, StreamYard will kill it for us probably.
Okay,
There,
I'm
there we
back.
are.
I got the stream open like multiple times, but I'm back.
All
Yeah,
right.
your Mission Earth here. I'm like, I got to go look this up, and then that's the moment I realized I was not in the stream anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, this probably has less going on in it than Foundation, and it's $10. It's just
Okay, is this like the opera full album 1986? This is on YouTube.
yeah.
Soon after we get done streaming.
It's let me put it this way. Edgar Winter made that album better than it had any right being.
It's got awesome cover art. Like
Yeah.
that is like super 80s, the crazy hair. It's got a great cyberpunk aesthetic. I'm actually kind of excited to go listen to this thing. If this turns out to be absolute hot garbage, I'm going to be disappointed. But I'm going into it expecting it, so I guess I won't be too disappointed.
Yeah.
Why don't you share the campaign and show your books again before we wrap up here?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll pull it up.
Because we're here to sell your book.
Yeah.
Which I guess I should go back to that. Am I logged in?
You know, and I think I know the best way to know the perfect note to end on.
In a world yearning for escapism,
A group of creatives has been making magic for half a decade. 4 unique titles, each with their own style, sucking you into the lives of our leading lady quartet. Smart, sweet, tough, or driven, whatever you're craving, the Mythoverse has you covered. Join the celebration with 2 exclusive omnibuses. All the issues, all the one-shots. Whether you're a longtime fan or only now discovering the mythical, order now and slip into a world you won't forget.
Oh, that was perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah, it was by our mutual friend Lenore.
I know Lenore. I follow Lenore on Twitter.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever actually interacted with Lenore, but I follow Lenore. I don't know what that says about me. I guess I'm a stalker. That's what that's telling me right now.
Yeah.
Look, one has to know one's limitations. Am I a creepy stalker? Apparently, the answer is yes. We've just discovered this about myself. I am going to ask you guys one more question real quick before we go.
Yeah.
All right. Which Mythoverse story, and this, I mean like a single issue, is your favorite that is not one that you worked on?
Damn. I might need a minute to think. Do you want to go, Matt?
I might need to think too.
Oh, I didn't expect this to be so difficult. I figured you guys would both be like, oh, we like the other guy's book. Like I thought that's where this was going, like the Mutual Appreciation Society.
Well, if we're gonna go with Patreon stuff, I would say dropping out because that's just an extremely raw look at Adobe's lowest point.
Yeah.
Cool. You still thinking over there?
I would have to say my best worst Halloween just because it kind of shows that Rubbish is probably the person besides me who understands Maeve best. Like, if I had to leave Changeling over to anybody, it would, like, God forbid that ever should happen, but if I had to, I could leave it in Rubbish's hands and know that it would still be okay.
Fair enough. Cool freaking deal. All right, guys. We somehow went an hour and a half. That's actually a half hour longer than I thought we would go, which is amazing. because once we got started and started making fun of Brett disconnecting, the content just flowed right there.
Mhm.
And plus,
Mhm.
XLG's questions about AI, very thought. Oh, he did have one question that I don't think we got to.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have any thoughts about this, because I don't like this. Like it's something that's a company would sell because they would sell this. But if somebody just did this on their own for their kid, I wouldn't care.
Like I said, I think AI is gonna be doing a lot of things that it probably shouldn't. Like I said, the
Mhm.
genie's out of the bottle.
Yep.
The best we can do now is figure out how we can what we have to figure out now is how to at least make it operate with some semblance of ethics.
Good luck. I don't have a good feel about that stuff, but that's okay. I don't have to have a good feel. The world just needs to do the right thing, which it won't, but it could. Maybe. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me, for agreeing to come on here and talk about bullcrap with me as we try to get XLG to buy your book, because he's known to do that sort of thing. And really, XLG, like, you should check some of this stuff out. I think some of it might interest you. Like, get in at the PDF level, dude. You'll probably like it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Otherwise,
the best part is all these books, they are already done, so turnaround will be extremely quick if you back at the PDF, and in fact, even if you buy a print copy, you'll still get a PDF copy to hold you over while we wait maybe on fulfillment. So you won't have to wait.
Cool stuff. Any last thoughts from you guys?
Just back to Kickstarter. We're grateful we've been able to do this for 5 years, and we hope we keep going for 5 more and beyond.
All right. That is a great sentiment to end on. You two have a great night. Audience, you all
You as well.
have a great night too. Or if you're watching this on instant replay, have a great whatever you're doing. 2 p.m. in the afternoon, checking out Eliza Bar. That's okay. I got a PhD in my name. It's right there. You can see it. I also have a reverend in my name. I just don't go around being that pretentious. All right. I'm going to hit the in stream button, guys. So all you had playing the home game, take care. Let's do that thing where I turn my camera on and I like wave and do a thumbs up. And I'm going to hit the end button.
All right.